Hey guys, Disler Magic here. Remember yesterday in part 7 when I said I think that's all the cards from Unstable? I was off by 97. Clearly, I have made a drastic mistake in trying to cover every single card from Unstable, but if any set merited, that kind of card focus, because they're all hilarious, it would be this one, so I'm sticking to it. Get ready for a lot of videos. So I'm at least going to try to categorize them into regular cards, or spells I should say, contraptions, and then hosts and augments. So let's get into that. Let's start with contraptions. First up, accessories to murder. Ha 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 ha, get it? It's a play on words. Whenever you crank accessories to murder, target creature gets plus X attack until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. I don't really like this one because it's like if you had 7 creatures out on the battlefield, you're probably going to win anyway without this, and this is only going to go off 1 in every 3 turns, so it's really not that great. Next up, applied Aeronautics. Whenever you crank applied Aeronautics until end of turn, target creature gets +1 attack, gains flying, and becomes an artifact. That's kind of funny, actually. I kind of like that. I mean, it's not great, but it's kind of funny. Next up, Arms Depot. Ha ha ha, it's literally arms. Get it? It's a play on words. I'm so gonna stop saying that. Whenever you crank Arms Depot, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. Now that is some power. I mean, it does double down on the removal, but there's not very much removal in this set. So, yeah, I would definitely play this. Next, Auto Key. Whenever you crank Auto Key until end of turn, target creature becomes an artifact in addition to its other types and gains tap. You gain 3 life. Once again, not very good because then you lose it as an attacker and a blocker, which may or may not make up for the whole 3 life thing. If it has vigilance, it would be cool, but it's just not that great. Plus, they obviously should have called it the Any Key. That would have been hilarious. Okay, now we got Buzz Buggy. Whenever you crank Buzz Buggy, target creature gets +2 attack and gains trample until end of turn. I like that. Everybody loves trample. Next, we got Deadly Poison Sampler. That's a bit weird. Whenever you crank Deadly Poison Sampler until end of turn, target creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Destroy target creature that player controls. Holy crap, I can see why this is a rare. That is really good. Next up, Dictation Quillograph, which just sounds awesome. Totally Harry Potter-ish. Whenever you crank Dictation Quillograph, until end of turn, target creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. You may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Ooh, I hate it when they end it with if you do discard a card, so can't really approve that one. Next up, another rare contraption, Duplication Device. Whenever you crank it, until end of turn, target creature becomes a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. Great if you're winning, great if you're losing. It's just great. Next up, Fairy Airy. It's a mythic, so you know this is going to be wild. Whenever you crank it, create 2 1/1 blue fairy spy creature tokens with flying, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Ooh! Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. That is power. If you see this, grab it. Next up, Gnomehall Machine, because those are delicious. Whenever you crank Gnomehall Machine, create 2 1/1 colorless gnome artifact creature tokens. I mean, that's some value. I mean, they're not the most powerful creatures in the world, but 2 creatures, 2 blockers is not bad. Next up, the most amazing card, Goblin Slingshot. Whenever you crank it, creatures you control get +2 attack and gain trample until end of turn. It's an improved version of the one from a couple back. I mean, it's just so good. I mean, basically, if you see a rare mythic contraption, most of them are really, really, really good. Next up, Gist List. Whenever you crank Gist List, target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in its controller's graveyard. So, I don't like this one, and it's a rare. You'd almost have to have destroyed like 4 or 5 of their creatures already without them somehow clearing the graveyard, which I doubt they can. And otherwise, I mean, this could do 0. I mean, it's just not good. I mean, it is like a removal spell every 3 turns, but not necessarily. So, maybe in a heavy control deck, but if that much stuff is in the graveyard for an opponent, you probably already beat them. Next up, an awesome card, Headbanger. Why is he hitting his own team's bomb? I don't get that. Whenever you crank Headbanger, target creature must be blocked this turn if able. Once again, very situational. This goes off, like you have almost no control about when this goes off. So, I don't know. I know that this isn't mandatory, you can just skip it, but I just don't like it. Next up, distract your opponent with the Hypnotic Swirly Disc. Whenever you crank it, target player puts the top X cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard, where X is the number of creatures you control. Once again, board state reliant, and it does nothing. If you have 5 creatures on the battlefield, you don't need to mill them to death because you'll just win. I just don't like this card. Next up, Insufferable Syphon. Whenever you crank it, target player discards a card. Oh yes! Play this card. It is amazing. It doesn't matter if it's turn 1 or turn 70. I know you have 40 card decks. This is absolutely amazeballs, and I love it. Next up, Lackey Recycler, because, you know, save the planet and all. Whenever you crank it, put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. That's very situational. You'd only really want to do it once or twice in a game on average, so complete, like, do not draft this card. Next up, Jamming Device. Yeah, they stole that joke from Airplane. Whenever you crank Jamming Device, creatures target player controls get -1/-1 until end of turn. That's good. I mean, it's just good. You could remove every single token that they own, and you could manipulate combat. You could swing out for the win or force a block. I mean, this is just a good card. Next up, the greatest thing I've ever heard of, Mandatory Friendship Shackles. I love it. Whenever you crank it, target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So basically a garbage version of the other one, but I don't know, whatever. I mean, it maybe could take something out. This just seems a little bit weak. Next up, Neural Network. Whenever you crank Neural Network, gain control of target creature an opponent controls with power less than or equal to the number of creature cards in its controller's graveyard until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until end of turn. So a repetitive borrower. It's not bad, but it's not like anybody's playing with the card that's standard legal right now that does that. So I don't know. The condition, it's really hard to control, especially in limited. I don't really like this card. Next, we got the squirrel in the Gundam, basically. It's Oaken Power Suit. Whenever you crank Oaken Power Suit, target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So, some creature that you control gets its power, I was going to say doubled, but that's not quite true unless you target the biggest one. So, doubled or more, I guess I would say. So, this is just really, really, really good. Next up, we got Optical Optimizer. Whenever you crank it, it turns target creature into an artifact and gives it an ability tap, draw a card. I mean, it makes it a little bit more destroyable, I guess, technically. But the card would be nice. I mean, card draw is pretty good in limited, so yeah, I'd probably throw this in. Next up, Pet Project, literally. Whenever you crank Pet Project, put target creature card from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. The problem is, if it whiffs, it's probably because you didn't destroy anything, which means they're probably winning the game. So, I mean, with that, I mean, if you destroyed anything worthwhile, and you probably wouldn't have destroyed their weakest creature, you could target it and you get it. So, and you get it permanently, and this is a mythic. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty decent. Next, we've got Rapid Prototyper. Whenever you crank it, create an XX colorless construct artifact creature token, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Keep in mind that contraptions are artifacts on the battlefield. This is basically Metallurgic Summonings, but better, so, you know, it makes sense it's a mythic. This is one of the best ones I've ever seen. Next up, Record Store. Whenever you crank Record Store, look at the top X cards from your library, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Put one of those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I never really did like these effects because it's like if you popped up 4 cards that you need, you know that 3 of them are now on the bottom of your library, but at least you got something out of it. So overall, it's usually a net gain, and, you know, when do you love your entire deck or need pull exactly what you want when you need it? So, yeah, I'd say this is pretty decent. Next up, Sapsucker. Hey, I didn't know that they put Bad Boy MTG on a card. Whenever you crank Sapsucker, add 1 green mana to your mana pool. Until end of turn, this mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as steps and phases end. So that's pretty cool. That said, this is basically a land, and what if you're not playing green? So, I mean, it's a little weird. It's kind of the weirdest ramp card I've seen lately, but I don't know. I mean, if you have kind of an expensive deck and you're playing green, I guess you could run this. You only get the mana once every 3 turns. It's just overall not very good. Next, we got Sundering Fork. Whenever you crank Sundering Fork, destroy target artifact. Remember, every single one of their contraptions is targetable and an artifact. So, yes, run this. It will win you the game. Next up, Targeting Rocket. Whenever you crank Targeting Rocket, target creature blocks this turn if able. Oh, I like that, because if it's basically a glorified, enchantment or something, it's just standing out there using a trigger or an ability, this'll do it. Now, you can't choose what it blocks, though, so I don't like that, but still, this would be pretty good. Next up, Thud-for-Duds, which I guess is whack-a-mole, but for goblins, that looks dangerous. Whenever you crank Thud-for-Duds, roll 2 6-sided dice. I don't know why I can't read this. Whatever. This card deals damage to target creature equal to the difference between those results. Woo! I guarantee by combat they're going to forget that creature took damage. So, yeah, I'd run it. And plus, it's repetitive removal, maybe. Next up, Top Secret Tunnel, and it's labeled in the Top Secret Sneak methodology, I guess you'd say. Whenever you crank it, target creature can't be blocked this turn. That could by itself be game winning, so yeah, run this. Next, Treadmill, 2 words. Whenever you crank Treadmill until end of turn, target creature gets +1/+2, gains vigilance, and becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. Sure, why not? I mean, vigilance. I mean, at least you could block with it then. Seems cool. Next up, the greatest weapon I've ever seen. This gives Godsend a run for its money. Turbo Thwacking Auto Hammer. Whenever you crank this card, target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Obviously, that is absolutely amazing. It's basically Blood Mist. I love it. Put it in your deck. And finally, Widget Contraption. Whenever you crank Widget Contraption, it assembles a contraption. I knew there had to be something like this. So, a self-sustaining loop where, the contraptions assemble other contraptions. This isn't a rigger, so, oh well, you can't duplicate it or whatever, but this is just good, because, I mean, if you get your entire deck of contraptions out into play, what would your opponent possibly do? I mean, your creatures will have, like, -6, have to be blocked, they'll have trample, double strike, you'll be removing stuff every turn. I mean, yeah, I would probably go contraption heavy, because I haven't seen a Destroy All Artifacts card yet. So if they try and slow me down by destroying 1 or 2, it's just not going to work. So hopefully I can pull one of those. By the way, I'm going in alphabetical order, and I missed one. Twiddlestick Charger. Whenever you crank Twiddlestick Charger, tap or untap target creature. Remember, you have to do this during your upkeep. What the hell is the point of that? Completely worthless card. Well, I mean, you could tap one of their blockers. Okay, whatever. But other than that, I mean, untap, like, what, did you exert it? I mean, I don't really get that. This is like a free pacification array, so I guess it's not that bad, but it's really not that great either. So, assuming that no more spoilers are coming, and I didn't miss any, that means that's all the contraptions, and there's quite a few. I mean, there's gotta be, I don't even know at this point, probably flirting with 50 of them. And remember, your deck only has to have 15, your separate contraptions deck has to have 15, but the no repeats rule and the 15 rule both go out the window as far as I know. In a draft, especially if you drafted 15 cards, how would you even build a 40 card deck? That's what I don't get. I mean, usually when you draft, there's like nothing left over. I mean, I don't even know how many cards. Depends upon, I guess, if you get 8 people or not. But if you do, there's not a whole lot of spares. So I have a feeling people are going to be running like 3 or 4 contraptions max, and then barely be running a 40 card deck, I guess. I don't know. I mean, unless they're lifting the restriction on that too. That would make a deck a little bit too consistent if they did that. So I'll have to read up on that. I'm sure Mark Rosewater already said something about it, but whatever. If you know, leave it down in the description. Otherwise, I can't wait to draft with this. So see you guys next video.